So Mike, how can I put in the least amount of money? Like what is the maximum loan amount that I can get on, let's say, if I'm doing a BRRRR strategy or a DSCR loan?
Great question, because that comes up a lot. When you're looking at, especially like the DSCR, if you're using it in BRRRR, if you're using it in a refinance, even if you're using it in a purchase, there's two different qualifiers. And people, I think, get confused about that because we see it almost daily. The guidelines say on a DSCR loan, you can get 75% maybe on a refinance or 80% on a refinance, 80% of the purchase. That means 80% of the current appraised value or 75%. So everyone comes in and let's just say they did a BRRRR and they're like, hey, I need a 75% cash out or rate and term loan on this BRRRR. DSCR says I could do that. Can I qualify? And we always say, just hold off, wait, because there's something that's even bigger than the underwriting guidelines when you're looking at something like that. And that is, does a property qualify for 75%? And what I mean by that is DSCR loans are all based on a ratio. So where does your property break even? You have your rents coming in, you have your expenses for the DSCR, your principal, your interest, your taxes, insurance, HOA, and flood, if you have those two. Where does that break even? For an example, someone may come to us and say, hey, we just got this property appraised for $400. Guidelines say I could get 75% cash out or rate and term. I want 75%. And we go, that sounds good. Your credit's good. The property looks good. It's rented. So all those factors look good. But we have to look at another thing with each property is, where does it break even? Because there could be a $400,000 house bringing in $3,000 and another $400,000 house bringing in $200.
$200 versus $3,000 or $2,000.
$2,000. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Got that mixed up a little bit, but okay. So the rents are different. The taxes and insurance are different. Each property is unique. Mm-hmm. Each situation is unique. That's why you got to run the numbers on it. So if you have these properties and the market over here says I could get $3,000 in rent, and the market over here says I could get $2,000.
Sure.
Guess what happens is the DSCR ratio, the break-even point, maybe and I'm just surmising, and we'll actually do this on another film where we'll do the numbers so we can see that too. Just imagine if taxes and insurance are all the same, but rents were $1,000 off. The $2,000 a month rent is going to qualify for a smaller loan amount because it's the break-even point where the principal and interest, tax, insurance are going to be even. So just for instance, each property is different where it can break even and the loan to value you could get out of the property. Even though guidelines say you could get 75 or 80, we have to take rents into account, break even also on your credit score and your rate. The higher the rate, the higher your payment, the faster you hit that threshold of where you can hit, break even. So like I said, on a 3,000 compared to 2,000, maybe the 3,000 gets 75% because their DSCR ratio is above 1. It's breaking even or greater. Maybe the 2,000 is only going to get 250,000. Uh-huh. They're going to get $50,000 less, not because of them, not because of their credit score, but just because that property breaks even at that loan amount. That's why it's important when you're going through looking at properties or refinancing, making sure you understand your numbers before you go, and especially you just talked about BRRRR. Mm-hmm. You want to know if you're going to be able to refinance out of that private money, hard money, whatever it is that you buy the property with. And if you're looking for DSCR, you have to make sure that property qualifies too, based on rents, for you to refinance it out. Or you're going to get to the end and go like, damn, I'm $50,000 short. What am I going to do here? Each property is unique. The maximum loan to value you could get out of each property is unique. Because not only do we have those, we have your taxes and insurance. Taxes, a lot different than taxes in Missouri. Insurance in Florida, crazy compared to, insurance in Ohio.
Yeah.
So you have to put all those factors in and say, where does my property break even on top of, the maximum loan to values?
Okay, yeah, all that makes sense. Can you walk me through a scenario, though, where you do get 100% financing?
What I'm going to do, because I think it's just easier when you see the numbers, I think we get a lot of response when we see the numbers. I'm going to take the same scenario next time, our next video, and actually walk through different numbers of when it hits the 75% and when it doesn't, just so people can understand. Even if the rents are the same, we're going to go through an example of what if taxes and insurance are different. All these different scenarios. Like we always say, each property is unique, so you have to understand where you break even or where the numbers are for each property and where you're at with your credit score and everything like that. I think just to make it easier, because when I sit and talk about it, I'm like, okay, I think numbers will do better when show numbers on this.
Okay, so a whiteboard video next time?
Yep.
All right, I'll hold you to it.
Thanks.
Let's talk soon.